Welcome to Seeking God, a place where we consider the questions and stories regarding our faith. Questions are an important part of our development as people. We're encouraged from the very earliest times that we can speak, and maybe even before, to allow curiosity to motivate us to learn and to grow. You can see that in the faces of young children and babies as they see something new and they reach out for it. In young children, who among us has not heard a child follow along behind someone and go, why? 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 Or what? Why does this happen? What is going on here? What does this have to do with anything? We're encouraged to ask these questions and to grow and to learn. As older children, we encounter this in our educational systems. Curiosity fuels our learning. Why, if I do this, does this happen? And if I change it, what would happen then? The greater our curiosity, I think, the more our motivation to learn. And that curiosity is expressed through our questions. We're often encouraged to ask questions about many things and to grow in our lives from what we learn. In some places and in some times, some of us have encountered limitations on the questions. For instance, many of us grew up in a time or maybe in a place where we are discouraged from questioning authorities. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And in some places and times to do so, to ask those questions, would invite our imprisonment or our death. Others of us maybe grew up in a place and a time where we were allowed to ask certain questions about faith or about religion, but we were only allowed to ask those questions and to accept the answers that we were given. Because of that, quite a few of us, myself included, came to a time where if I had to accept only those things that people gave me, those answers that the officials gave me, and not question anything beyond that, then I wasn't sure that I could be a faithful person. I don't think I'm alone in that. I think that there are quite a few of us who need to be able to ask questions of our faith. It's important to do that, to be able to grow. To simply accept the status quo means that we can only be included with others as being faithful if we accept what they say is true. And that our curiosity, our natural curiosity, is not a part of our faith. There came a time for me when I, through experiencing faith of other people, came to see that my questions were just as important as I moved ahead, and that I could continue to ask them and receive some important answers. Why does this happen? And what does this say about the divine or the holy or God, or however I want to phrase this? But there also came another point for me as I began to do that, where I came to realize that as important as the questions are to my faith, I may not always receive answers. And that because I don't receive answers doesn't mean that my questioning is invalid or is not good for my faith. Rather, I think it's important. Rainer Maria Rilke, a German poet in the early part of the 20th century, received some letters from a young poet, and he wrote back to him in his letters to a young poet. And in the interchange, the young person said to him that he wasn't sure that he believed in the divine or in God or what others talked of God. And they had quite an exchange of ideas with this. And in one of his letters to this young poet, Rainer Maria Rilke said some of the most wonderful things, I think, about questions and about our faith. I quote him, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves like locked rooms and like books that are written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given to you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will find them gradually without noticing it and live along some distant day into the answer." I think as faithful people, we are invited to live the questions in the hope that someday we may live into the answers. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for joining me in seeking God.